You're welcome on blackhotfirenetwork. Good evening from Kampala, Uganda. It's Africa Mara. Yeah, it's a Monday today. Some of our channels were pulled down, so we are on Black Hot Fire Network, 2 and Black Hot Fire Network Live, and on Facebook, of course. So for those who are on those other channels, I may not have the chance to watch us live unless you subscribe to these new channels and also continue to watch our shows in case other channels are put down. Now, today's topic is about the truth about Africa. Now, each one of us views Africa in their own way. Okay, more especially to those who have not been in Africa, more especially to those who have never been to Africa, actually. So each of us view Africa in our own kind of way, be it spiritual, culture, or tradition. Africa's appearance, the economy, politics, and everything. So different people have different picture of Africa, but basically the major picture they have in their mind is what the mainstream shows them. The major picture people have in their mind about Africa is what social media shows them, is what news shows them, but there is a lie about Africa that you don't see. There is a lot that meets the eyes. There is a lot of greatness in Africa. First of all, we got a lot of, we got a lot of beautiful things in Africa, nature and people around. Um, the source of the Nile, actually, that one basically is in Uganda. We got some tall, great mountains. We got good plateaus, forest animals. Okay, people call us monkeys probably because we come from Africa, but yeah, we have very beautiful animals in Africa. Name them all a lie because we are blessed by nature. Now, when it comes to African spirituality, actually, people talk about voodoo, like voodoo isn't religion. Voodoo is a religion that people created. Basically, people who are a little bit ignorant about, Africa. Sorry, I will not mute. Sorry, I will not end my show because it takes me a lot to design this. So if I end this show, I have to restart and I had to rest. I had someone call out for me and I had to run around. We just came around in this place. So we just rented a new apartment, so we're new here. And shit, I had to run out. Whatever, I will not tell you what happened, but yeah, the good thing I'm back and everything's alright. Whew. Should I just run that? Right. Okay. We good. So it's crazy, right? I'm sorry. I'm so very sorry. You don't know how far I ran. And I have to climb the stairs and come back up and it's crazy. But the good thing I was there and we are done with whatever it is. So um like you guys, most people who have never been in Africa have a picture, like I was saying about Africa. They picture Africa in different ways. Everybody has got their own Africa in their mind. And the same thing happens to the Africans in Africa. You will only know, probably, I'm going to use, of course, places I know better. You only know about Uganda if you don't cross to Kenya. You will think Kenya is what the media shows you. So this is not an effect that has affected, only the Africans in diaspora, but also the Africans in Africa, more especially picturing the countries where they have never been to. Now, each of us have their own imagination. Of course, when it comes to South Africa, the first thing that crosses the mind of every African who has never been there, probably the violence, the homosexuality, and the sangomas about their of course them doing spiritual stuff like that. If you picture of course Nigeria, you look at for them they trade a laughter with their food stuff, and of course with their movies, of course. So the first thing that crosses the mind of a lot of African is that juju. Nigerians are juju because most of their movies portray that witchcrafty stuff and everything. So the mainstream actually focuses on, when it comes to the larger mainstream. Uh okay, Jimmy Jama says that am I doing my cardiovascular exercise? No, come on, not really. No, I was on a live, then I had somebody call out my name down, and I was like, "What is going on?" I had to pause and rush, and everybody knows that this is a time I'm working. But if someone calls me like that, something was not right. So I could not sit comfortably, waiting to know what's going on. And of course, there are stairs, so I'm in an apartment on a third floor. So I had to run down. So running down and coming back. That's why I'm breathing heavily, like this. I can't remember when I did those exercises. But I think I will embark on that journey. Yeah, sooner, sooner, sooner. So, the culture and spirituality of Africa is something, when we talk about spirituality, first of all, what people look at is what they see in movies. I saw a movie. I've seen a lot of movies portraying Africa's spirituality in a better way, more especially the Bollywood, the Hollywood movies. Sorry, but when it comes to Africa, them portraying spirituality, it is more of evil. It is more of evil because of the religion. Now, most of the Americans, when they are trying to portray Africa's spirituality in movies, they get that concept. They try to get that true concept of the spiritual things about Africans, and like Africans who portray their spirituality in different ways. Well, I've seen a lot of like celebrities, for example, like Beyonce. I've I've seen celebrities like Beyonce trying to portray, like the Orishas, where when she's wearing that red general mosquito. Thank you for coming through. Yeah, hi. I hope you're doing great. When Beyonce is trying to wear that yellow, Orishas, most ladies want to wear that yellow that they are portraying, or Orishas, to the point that most people think Orishas is a human being. Okay, most people think that Orishas is a human being. Yet Orishas is not really a human being. It is a concept. It is a concept of high vibration. But people always think, because I see like a lot of celebrities in America who want to be true spiritual Africans. They want to portray the African spirituality, wanting to come out with those not too soon. General Mosquito. Not too soon now. I beg. And of course, yes, Africa religion. We see some people do practice Yoruba religion. We see most people trying to practice the Igbo, the Bantu with the Sangomas, and different kind of religion do people. Now, during those days, before of course the Mzungu came, Africans used to have their concept, and that's why we find like some people have their some idols, like something they believe in may have a big face, or another may be ahead of something. There's a concept. There's a concept that because anything that you pour energy, anything that you surround with energy becomes a reactive. The seven African powers, Maria. Oh, soon, yeah. Oh, soon. I know soon. I thought you meant what I was saying wasn't right. The Orishas, but yeah. Oh, soon, yeah. Oh, soon is there, of course. Oh, soon is there. And is the seven African powers. I know. In Hollywood, Beyonce is fulfilling the mother goddess role with her costumes. Yeah, like I say, she pictured herself, she took a picture of her when she's wearing that yellow, dress and everything, that, or yellow. And a lot of women do that, more especially when they're trying to uh do their spirit Africa spiritual, exercises. But of course, we see a lot of Haiti people also carrying out that. There's so much of spiritual, and voodoo isn't something. Is something that people usually like to call it like voodoo. You know, um, Voodoo wasn't an African thing. Voodoo is just something that people have created now, that we are practicing voodoo. I don't know whether it's another way of saying it is spirit, we are doing our religion, something like that. But before that, it was like a religion. Okay. Voodoo is also a concept. It's also a concept that people do carry on. But anyway, in Africa, religion existed in Africa before even the white people came, before the Palestine, came, before the Palestine came, like 1500s, like the 1500s ago, before the Palestinians came, and before the Europeans introduced their religion, of course, the Ethiopians church was already 100 years plus. That means we had religion in Africa even before. Though, like I say, Africans used to practice their own religion in different ways. So, if I talk about Ethiopia practicing its religion, we talk about them believing in the Ethiopian. Um, Jeremiah School said, "Voodoo is a frequency and a vibration," and Brother Keith would say. Yeah, I said voodoo, of course, is a frequency. Voodoo. A lot of people, when you talk about voodoo, they associate it with the something so evil. Like you're going to practice something so evil. I'm doing my voodoo with their, they have mixed their sage and all those other stuffs, and they're smoking the entire place, and they be like, they are doing their voodoo, whatever. Okay. GB Jabba says that he thought voodoo came from Africa. Most people no, voodoo is a frequency. You know, you are saying that voodoo, you thought that voodoo came from Africa, passing between the third dimension to the fourth to affect people. Your concept is right. But voodoo itself is not a religion, like most people say that I'm somebody who practices voodoo. You're like when a Christian say I'm a Catholic, so I'm somebody who practices voodoo. You understand? What makes other people think that voodoo is a religion? Like we see people saying there is Yoruba religion, and most people also keep saying they practice voodoo. I practice voodoo and all that kind of thing. So your definition to voodoo, of course, is right. But before now, we used not to call it voodoo because everyone has their own frequency. Everyone calls for their own different frequency. Everyone has what gives them the harmony, what gives them positivity, what gives them, whatever it is. Because we go to pray. I will say pray because this is the common word people use for different reasons. And like I say, everybody have got different energies. We got different energies for different purposes, and our energy, of course, connects with the environment. That's why most people, when they are going to meditate, they go to a quiet place. Some other prefer water because there is energy around there. Some other people will prefer going deep into the forest to whether there is that quiet. Other people will say, I just want a very quiet place. Other people will say, I just want to listen to the voice of nature. I want to listen to the birds. I want to listen to the sea breathing. I want to listen to the winds. I want to listen to the music of nature away from this artificial, this artificial made sounds. Okay. So everyone has their own way. And somebody else, by the way, everyone thinks that you can only meditate when it is quiet. Someone will say you can only meditate, but the only positive way of meditating is when you connect your energy with nature. Okay, so I guess people have their own different feeling. So it's a land practice one has to be devoted to. Correct, Maria, it's a science. All right, all right. Yeah, so this whole thing people keep on saying, voodoo thing. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I'm glad to see you. You made it to work today. What vacation? What vacation, actually? Um, vacation. When I'm not here at times, um, sometimes it's the electricity. Yeah. Um, I guess that's a, and sometimes, but we're in holidays. So I'm not going to use an excuse of school. So we have not resumed school yet. Um, okay, Williams. But still, thank you for coming here. So, in Africa, religion existed when Europeans, of course, like 100 years, 1,000 years plus before even the Palestinians, introduced their religions. When Europeans introduced Catholic, okay, the Ethiopian church were already formed 500 years before the Europeans introduced Catholics, the Catholic religion. And Ethiopian religion basically wasn't a religion that the entire Africa was practicing. We all know some other parts practiced the Yoruba religion, like I say, and it was a religion. And because these Bazungus knew the powers that African beliefs held, all they did was to destroy the sacred places that where Africans used to, practice these religions from, and where they used to believe that there is power. These people made sure that, of course, they disorganized and, burnt every place down. But if you look at their Bible, a lot of concept that is in their Bible, of course, is driven from the religions down in Africa. Last time I said I was going to give you a story, I was so very much prepared, and I would just, though I wanted to give you the experience of the story when I'm interviewing some elders, because for them, they would paint you a really, really good picture. But if you look at the story of Jesus, Jesus healing the sick, Jesus doing a lot of these miracles that the Bible talks about, Africa has ever experienced this. And I'll give you, during the Karagwe Kingdom, before boundaries were formed all over Africa, I'm sorry, I'm going to use probably the word East Africa because it's also a boundary, but Africa was expanding. The Bantu people were expanding beyond borders in other places. There is uh, there is a season where people appeared, and they were believed that was a season of drought and famine. And if you look at the attire that they say Jesus used to wear, it is like a long, I don't know how to call it, but that we call it a kanzo here in my country. Men usually wear it. The Nubian people wear that kind of attire. It's so very long and usually white in color and all that. So those people appeared, and they are called the Bachuizi. Like I was saying, you can Google that up, the Bachuizi people. And until to date, some people believe that the Bachuizi people are people who do miracles. Because at that time, they could heal the sick. They would just heal the sick. They introduced a lot of things that even till today, there is the African pool. If you all know that the pool that men usually play, I don't know how, it's a type of pool, but they introduced that they came with that to Africa. And for the fact that a lot of Africans did not know um, these people were doing a lot of miracles. They healed the sick, and they had the powers to make the blind see. And until to date, there is that particular group of Africans who call themselves that we are the Batwezi. And in Uganda, there is a proverb that usually people say that Batwezi, I'm going to say in my language, the Batwezi Munjuni Nagawotiro. It means as you call for the Batwezi to help you, you should also be helping yourself. That means these people were the people who were called upon, and they were like people who were you could see them physically. These were people who would do a lot of things. And not only did this happen in Uganda, every African country has a story, a similar story of these very people, and they call them differently. If you travel to Cameroon, they will tell you a story of people who performed miracles, and they appeared. They appeared just, they didn't know, these people just appeared when they were needed. In the time of need, when African Africans were going through a lot of hardship. If you go to Nigerians, the Yoruba people will tell you a story of the people who are practicing this. Me, where I come from, we call them the Bajoiti people. But this story goes beyond. And why is it, why am I so baffled that we have this story of these people, we have a name we call them, and the Yoruba people have the story of the same people who did the same thing to the Yoruba, and some other people down in South Africa still have people who practice the same thing, but they call these people different names. But when there are people who did almost the same thing, that means if you look at the story of Jesus, this thing happened down in Africa. We had people who did this. People healed the sick. We had the Bachoises, who came in doubt and in drought, and they told Africans what to do, and Africans got water. We had people, who helped the barren women to conceive children, and these people from nowhere with time, they vanished. So I think maybe they were just moving from one place to another. That's why they happen to be in almost every Africa's history, almost every Africa's place. They have been there. Nigerians will tell their own story about these people. You go to Gambia, they have got their own story. So sometimes I'd be listening to their different stories on social media, and I'm like, wow, I know about this story. So did you guys also, you know, so it cannot be a false thing if different people tell you the same thing from different areas, except they have different names for these people. But of course, what they did was 100% similar. Now, if you look at the story of Jesus in the Bible, this happened in Africa. Now, the problem is that people don't teach, the Africans don't teach the new generations about the greatness, about, that story you got in the Bible. We had that story. And these people did this exactly what you're reading. People did it so that black people, Africans, should know before you exaggerate about somebody you know nothing about, and then your ancestors did this particular thing, then you should be 100% proud of the African in you. And then you need to think you got sugar daddy, like, what is this one saying? Okay, Williams, the sugar word. Me, I'm a hustler. Sugar daddy, no. You see, I was from painting. You can see my hand. Oh, come on, stop this sugar daddy thing. Okay, Williams. If you do full screen, no problem. Irrespective, we say. Ah, because they couldn't transcend this physical form, plane, and heal through frequency. Yeah, that was Jimmy Jobber's comment, mythology. Some people are empathies and will observe your sickness to heal the legitimate placing of hands. True, true. So we had all these people do that at that time. But of course, Africans will never, you know, understand. Mhm. Oh, God, crazy. So, Lizzie, I see you guys tripping with Lizzie on WhatsApp about that. Mm. The system of worship that we engage in, for example, the Haiti people who involve in elements, lower in elements in is a frequency, forces. We see. I'm always, I always feel so happy, like when I see a lot of people, practicing their own religion and beliefs. I'm not somebody who is good at judging what people do, because, you know, people understand things differently, and we got our own, we are attracted to different things, you know. And So yeah, if somebody's doing something cool, and what matters is, what you are and what you do to yourself, first of all, and to other people and the people around you. you know as long as you're not so stupid and so dumb to be eating grass like an animal, and be drinking jig and all that kind of stuff that we see religion, Christianity doing to a lot. And of course, some other people thinking they have the right to kill others because Allah Akbar, I'm gonna kill you. You know, people, it is okay. And more especially, except that when it comes to a lot of people thinking about African spirituality, if you look at the interpretation and their need to practice this, is about manipulating other people. So you think you can manipulate other people to your own advantage, and it's a good thing, really. I go around some social media, you see somebody coming in, I'm a Sangoma, or I'm a Baba, they usually call that, yeah. I'm a Baba, I'm a Sangoma. If you hear Sangoma, that means these are the ones from the southern part of Africa. And if it's going to be Baba, that means it's going to be from the western part. Yeah. How do the eastern part call? I don't know. But I hear babas and gomas and all that kind. So most people, you see, first of all, we are giving you the love spell, love. I'll be looking at the thing and saying, look at this guy. So for you, you think, are you gonna practice African spirituality to manipulate people's mind to your own advantage? And usually people who do practice these kind of things are people who have bad hearts. You want to do a spell to a man that you want to treat like an animal. You want this man to turn to your puppet and something like that. And that's why I probably want to do this, whatever. Practice those things. I don't know whether that one is a positive thing when it comes to we as Africans, but before that, that was never allowed in African religious system.